DeForest Buckner's a pretty impressive guy. First of all, he's huge. So I'm sure that growing up, grade school, junior high, high school, he's always been a leader because people are looking up at him like that. And so those people tend to, like when they assert rules, you tend to follow them. I think it's really interesting to hear what DeForest Buckner had to say about his meeting with Anthony Richardson when Richardson was benched and how the team supports him now and how he views that as a significant responsibility that he has to the Indianapolis Colts. I enjoyed hearing that stuff.
I think that's one of the most ultimate compliments I can get, because that's what I strive to be. A consistent player, continuing to be a consistent player to play at a high level for my team, and everything that I do, it's my routine, everything that it is. Whether winning or losing, I'm gonna consistently do my part. You know what I mean? My thing is leaving no stone unturned, and I'm gonna do everything throughout the week. For my body, mentally, whatever it is, to give myself the edge and give my, to help my team succeed. So that's the way I go about it every single week, and I would say it's probably one of the ultimate compliments I can get as a player and as a teammate.
As you've kind of grown in your career and played 8-9 years, how do you understand the impact that consistency that you show every day can have on younger guys like this year with Latu and some of those guys in that room?
Yeah. I mean, if they continue to see one of the leaders in the room, obviously I've been able to prove myself over the years as one of the top players in this league. So being able to see one of the top players in the league consistently doing his everything that he needs to do to get ready for Sundays, and it's working, and I'm consistently doing it on an everyday basis. I mean, hopefully that he can get something out of my routine, or continue to develop that consistency himself to become the player that he wants to be.
I didn't play in the first matchup, but what kind of stands out to you about Tennessee?
Yeah, I would say they try to build an identity and running the ball. I feel like they're definitely better run blockers, and they're going to try and get it on the ground, especially with the troubles that we've had throughout the season. So they're definitely going to test us. So we got to do a really great job. Kind of like I said, building off the building blocks that we did last week and stopping the run game. We got to continue to do that as a defense, and in this game, we got to kind of make it a one-dimensional game.
What do you think sticks out about Kenny, just as a man off the field, to you in the time that you know him?
Yeah, man, Kenny Moore. I mean, talk about a guy that's selfless. You know what I'm saying? Not just on the field but off. He's always looking to give to the community, be a difference maker in the community, and I always love that about him. Watching as a teammate, as a friend. Being able to. That's why I took some of the time a couple years ago, 2 years ago, when I found out about his camp. Going out there to Valdosta. Never been to South Georgia. So that was my first time out there, and being able to see the impact in his community that he's made has been awesome to see. So him being a nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, I mean it's very fitting for him.
Chris Ballard did an interview recently. He was talking about Anthony going through the benching and had this kind of come to Jesus meeting with the leadership council. And one of the things he relayed in the interview was that you told Anthony like, "Hey, I signed an extension for you," or in part because you're here and I believe in you. But you have to do your part as well. So what was that moment like for you, and what you need to, one, encourage him to tell him I believe in you, but also there's a standard that has to be met?
Yeah, just him being a young player, it's, and the stage that he's on, the pressure that he has, obviously I can't relate to that. I'm not a quarterback, but I can relate to it as a former first round pick, being the team's first pick, having all these high expectations for the guy, and coming in and that type of pressure. But also, essentially he's the franchise. He's a franchise quarterback. You know what I mean? He's the guy that they brought in to be the guy to lead this team, this city to wins. And I just felt like I needed to speak up and tell him how I felt, and that even though he was benched, that I still believe in him. We all still believe in him. He needs to know that, especially as a young player, but also that that the standard wasn't being met, and that he needs to pick it up. And I feel like he responded really well to that, and he he's shown the team, you know, on a consistent basis since then. I mean, that he's all in for the team. He'll do whatever it takes, you know what I'm saying, for the team to get these wins and to be the best player that he can be. And I've been very proud of him for, you know, everything that he's done so far and just the way he responded, really. That's the biggest thing, you know. A lot of guys say they want to be great. And, you know, when you get criticism from your peers or from coaches, you know, some young guys tend to, you know, get defensive and little things like that. But, I mean, he took it. He ran with it, and, you know, he learned from it, and he grew from it. So, yeah, I'm proud of him and his growth that he's, you know, come so far.
Do you do that often?
more.
Like pull a young guy aside and say, "Hey, look, this is how we do stuff here."
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, if I see it, I'm gonna let the guy know. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not. You know, sometimes things can be, you know, fixed or changed until, you know, somebody tells them something. You know what I mean? That they're doing something wrong, and especially in our room, in the D-line room, you know, we have a high standard in that room, and you know, when a standard's not being met, you know, we call each other out and we call guys out, you know, and it's not just me, it's the other leaders in the room like Taquan and Grover, you know what I'm saying, that helped me with that, and you know, we continue to do that throughout, you know, the team, and so you can definitely count on me on calling out bullshit.
Is everyone staying like positive and upbeat that, you know, if you guys win out, there's still definitely scenarios that have you guys landing in the playoffs? Has the vibe still been really good and upbeat and positive?
No, definitely. You know, but at the end of the day, I mean, you can't hope for other people, you know, you can't keep hoping on, you know, other people to get ourselves in, you know what I'm saying? We got to help ourselves, you know, and that's handling business this week against the Titans, and then next week with the Giants, and the week after, you know, finishing off with the Jags. So we got to take it 1 week at a time and, you know, do our part. And at the end of the season, you know, however May it shakes out, you know what I mean, with a little bit of hope and a little bit of help, maybe it does work out. But at the end of the day, we have to do our part first.
For a number of years now in Indianapolis, what do you think about your time here and where the franchise is headed? I guess what you expected when you came here versus what you experienced?
No, yeah. When I got here, obviously, I mean, I expected to, you know, to be able to compete, you know, with the rest of the league and getting into the playoffs, and, you know, and that happened my first year here, and obviously it's been a while since we've been back, since 2020, and but it's hard because, you know, like we do see the talent, you know, the team that we have, the moments that we do look like a great team, and then obviously there's moments where it's like, man, what happened? You know what I'm saying? And it's the consistency, man. It's the consistency and the execution part on all of our part. You know what I mean? And we have to continue to hammer it out and figure it out, because I mean, before you know it, I mean, it's gonna just, you know, slip away just like that. And so I want to make sure, you know, before my time's done here, that, you know, we leave our mark on this franchise. So that's my goal.
All
right, last one.
We were talking to Ryan Kelly yesterday. He mentioned like 10 years was kind of always a big goal of his in terms of playing. Have you ever had a longevity goal of how many years that you want to get to in the league?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's kind of the same thing. You know, 10 years. It's definitely a big goal of mine, and you know, and every year after that, obviously, is, you know, that's bonus. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, you know, I've been lucky throughout my career, and being able to, with the longevity of my career, being able to stay healthy for majority of it, and you know, I just want to continue to play until, you know, I don't love the game anymore. I told my wife, you know, the day I come home and it looks like I don't love the game, then tell me to stay home. So, but that day is definitely far from now.
All right. So there's DeForest Buckner. And you know what? I think a guy in his 20s, and DeForest Buckner is just out of his 20s, but I think it's really hard to be a leader. I think that's difficult. You're either born one, you don't grow into it. You can't be taught how to lead. It sounds like DeForest Buckner is very, very comfortable in the role of being a leader and being a guy who, on a daily basis, leads through example. And when things get a little bit wobbly, he puts his arm around guys and says, hey, here's how we do stuff here. I thought that was interesting to hear him expound on that a little bit and talk about leadership, because right now, this Indianapolis Colts team needs leaders. They need real leaders. They need guys to hold people accountable, tell people how it is, how they're going to play on Sunday, because these next 3 Sundays are going to have a hell of a lot to do with how this team is staffed next year, both in the front office, coaching staff, and on the field with that roster.